Alright guys, how's it doing? Welcome back to another video. Welcome to the pre-game week show for game week 17. I'm totally not recording this on the back of the two previous videos, but just want to get this over and done with. Just want to get the videos out to you guys, and I mean everything's still pretty fresh, so we're just going to continue and try to push on. But game week 17 will be a very interesting game week. I think there's some games here that I think could really prove to be quite spicy. But yeah, so drop a like on the video if you guys are enjoying this series, and of course subscribe if you're new around here, and let's jump right in. So of course, a really quick recap on the table. I mean, Liverpool are still top, Chelsea is second with really good form. Arsenal, Nottingham wrapping up the top four. Man City having the worst form ever that I've ever seen in my years of supporting this club. But Bournemouth are really up there now. Villa could be very interesting as well. Fulham doing reasonably well. Brighton not very good, I think, considering how they were at the start of the year. Tottenham not very good either. Brentford inconsistent. Newcastle inconsistent. Man United inconsistent. West Ham also inconsistent. Crystal Palace could see a bit of resurgence from them. Everton still Everton. Nothing more to say. Leicester can arguably expect more. And in terms of the bottom three, Southampton obviously they're finished in my opinion still. Wolves very dangerous. Still not sure about the new manager who's going to come in, etc. And Ipswich, very interesting. That one I can't really tell which way it's going to go. So yeah, but this is how the table has been. And in terms of the statistics, yeah, Haaland not scoring goals, obviously, or not scoring many, rather. Tied with Salah on 13, Cole Palmer on 11, and Wemo on Wood, both tied on 10. As for the assists, Saka 10, Salah 9, Diallo, Robinson, Palmer, all with 6. Of course, there are more players with 6 assists, but I'm showing you top 5 in this case. Yes. Now, let's jump into the fixtures. So the fixtures are as follows. We're going to start it off with Villa City, then followed by West Ham Brighton, Ipswich Newcastle, Brentford Forest, Palace and Arsenal, a repeat of the EFL Cup tie that happened earlier, Everton Chelsea, Man United Bournemouth, Fulham Southampton, Leicester Wolves, and lastly, to wrap it up, Tottenham Liverpool. So let's start things off with Villa and City. Now, obviously, I think arguably both clubs aren't in a very good form. I mean, it's the same when Manchester City were playing Man United in the derby. But I am not confident in this game either, to be honest. City are on the worst run of form, and they're playing away, which hasn't been their hunting ground either for this season. My prediction is going to be very delusional. I will say it first. A 3-1 win to Man City is very delusional. But again, there's a little hope of me just thinking that, you know, they really could just come back to form again, despite taking it really much longer than expected. But, I mean, Villa are at home. Arguably, you can argue that they really stand a better chance of getting a result out of this game. Villa have always been proven to be quite difficult for City to play. Yeah, City just haven't been the best against Villa. So, I think realistically, this is a very delusional result prediction there, but you never know what's going to happen in football, right? So, but I can keep my fingers crossed for City winning, but in terms of probability, I think Villa getting a result is probably higher, or it could be a draw even. But to start the game with this game, I think is really good. I think it lays a really good foundation for the games to come, and you know, things could change across the week as well. I mean, you've got other games following up, but if City do lose, I think fans again would be back to moaning like, oh yeah, City, you know, another one, stay humble kind of moment. But if they do win, then at least I think that can keep some other haters a bit silent. And you know, if other teams drop points as well, that could be to their advantage. I mean, obviously in the previous game week, right, Arsenal and Liverpool dropped points, and I felt like that would be the best time for City to at least close the gap on them. But you mean we lost against Man United, so that it's out the window. Right, West Ham and Brighton. Now, both teams aren't in the best of forms, but one can argue West Ham is in a better form than Brighton. Yeah, I mean, 2 games of my own club supporting is going to be arguably another delusional prediction. I'm saying West Ham will win this game by 2-1, which, again, sounds a bit crazy, but I think you've got to hear me out. I think this one, I probably stand a better chance of probably guessing it right. And the rationale is because it's not even the home advantage. I just think that Brighton just haven't been good in the past 4 game weeks. They've not won a single game. Do I see them, you know, continuing this bad run of form? arguably anyone can continue a bad run of form, and also obviously anybody can continue a good run of form. But this is not good for Brighton, as we can evidently tell, and I think it's going to continue. I think West Ham, if they're able to get their cards right, if they're able to play a formation or play a tactic that will really trouble Brighton, because we know Brighton are very lively when they attack, but I think it's the defence that can be a bit wobbly. As those West Ham, they're able to get, maybe I wouldn't say counter-attack, but really good attacks moving forward. I think they do stand a chance of scoring goals against Brighton. And I think it's essential for Lopetegui to get a result, because I still feel he's on the verge of getting the sack. I just don't understand how he's not got the sack ahead of all the other managers who've got the sack. Cooper, O'Neill and Russell Martin. I genuinely feel like he should have been the first, because of just how not so good that he's been. He's been very disappointing in my opinion. Yes, he's sort of picked up wins here and there, but this is not convincing enough. If he gets a win here, I think, yes, maybe I can still say that he deserves still some time at the club, but otherwise, yeah, it's not really looking good for him. Of course, it will not look good for Brighton either. It will not look good for Brighton either if they do lose against West Ham. So, yeah, this one will be a very tricky one. I think it can go either way, but I'm just going to stick it to 2-1 for West Ham. Yay, I just hope they win, to be honest. Now, Ipswich Newcastle. This one, I think it's going to be an interesting one as well. Are Ipswich going to fight? Yes, 100%. I believe at least that Ipswich will really put up a fight. But it's, again, the quality difference between them and Newcastle just suggests to me that it's not going to be easy. I think Newcastle are going to win. Is it going to be convincing though? No. I think it might just be a 0-0. But a win is a win regardless, right? But I believe Newcastle are probably going to dominate this game. Ipswich, it's going to be tough. 100%. If Ipswich are able to get a result against Newcastle, then fantastic from Ipswich's point of view. But I just feel that in terms of the quality that we've seen from Newcastle, yes, wobbly in terms of form, but arguably they just have the quality over Ipswich. I think that just makes a difference from me, and I just hope they don't pull off another game of Palace where they just have a 0.01 xG. If that happens, then yeah, surely they're going to be in trouble. But if not, if they're able to carry that momentum from the games they've won into this one, I think they should be fine. Yeah, so maybe 1-0 is a very tight result. Maybe they could be winning by more, but I mean, it's a prediction nonetheless. Yeah, I just think Newcastle are going to win this one. Right, Brentford and Nottingham. Now, this game is also going to be very interesting from me. Obviously, Brentford inconsistent form. Nottingham Forest coming with really, really good form. I think high spirits as well. It's going to be interesting. On paper, I think we expect Nottingham Forest to do really, really well and to continue a good run of form. But Brentford can be surprising at times, in my opinion. And Brentford have proven sometimes that they just can come up with this fluke result or two and just suddenly become a really, really good team. But are they going to beat Nottingham? Not in my opinion, at least. 2-2 is a very, I'd say, like a conservative kind of prediction here, or at least a draw in general is quite conservative. I've chosen not to pick a side to win because I just don't feel that it's going to go that way. I think it's that simple, really. But if I really were to choose, I think Nottingham stand a better chance of winning. It's just whether or not they're going to win. That is the question. And maybe for me, I just don't see that happening. So, again, maybe I'm being a little bit too pessimistic of looking at this, but I just think Brentford, they might just be able to show something that maybe we've not been seeing for the entirety of the season, or like glimpses of what they can do in this game against Forest. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tight one, but I mean, I could be wrong again. It could just be a thrash from Nottingham, but a 2-2 would be a good result from Brentford's perspective. A draw in general would be a very good result from Brentford's perspective. Maybe not from Nottingham's side. And again, it could be another lost opportunity for Nottingham if they do draw or at least drop points against Brentford. So, yeah. I think Nottingham are going to fight for it for sure. They're going to try to fight for the win. As I said, them getting a win is a higher probability. It's just that I'm just not trying to exclude the fact that Brentford could come up with a little bit of a surprise for this one. Right, as for Palace and Arsenal, a repeat of the EFL tie. Now, in my opinion, I think Palace fought really, really well in that game. I mean, Jesus hat-trick, that was just like everything had to click for Jesus to get the hat-trick. Sterling missed a couple of sitters as well. But if Jesus wasn't really on form in that game, Palace could have won that game in my opinion. And it just shows again that Palace are really fighting for games, which is a good thing. And I really hope they bring this into the game as well this weekend. Especially the crowd should continue to push them. And because of that, I'm actually expecting a win from Palace. Predicting a win from Palace, rather. It could be an upset result, in my opinion. I think Palace just need to continue to stay positive and just come into each game with a very calm attitude and just telling themselves that we're going to try to fight for every point that we can fight from here moving forward. We just need to continue a little bit of momentum. As though as they're able to do that, they should be okay. Of course, again, it's arguably Arsenal should be winning this game 100%, yes. But you never know. Against football, I'm just trying to put in a little bit of very cheeky results here. But I just think that if Palace are able to get the cards right, as what they did against Brighton, they could just do it against Arsenal. It's a really tall order, 100%. But it's not like Palace have not done it. So we'll see what happens. Of course, the loss is highly anticipated, but why not, right? Just throw in this little fluke result here and see what happens. Right, Everton and Chelsea. I think this, to me, should be relatively straightforward. I don't think Everton are going to trouble Chelsea to any extent. Again, the form difference is humongous. Chelsea are having all the players gelled together so well. Straightforward for me, this one. 3-1 win for Chelsea, or at least win for Chelsea is pretty much there. If Everton somehow gets a result over Chelsea, it's going to be a really disappointing weekend for Chelsea in that regard. Despite being away from home, it doesn't matter. You've got to understand that Everton's just not been good. So it's expected of them to win. It's expected of Chelsea to beat Everton and expected of Everton to just not win. But if Chelsea do drop points against Everton, I think that in itself will be a very disappointing result. Man United, Bournemouth. Now this will be very, very interesting. Again, the inconsistency of Man United, coupled with a really flying high Bournemouth. Again, it's really hard to tell which way it's going to go. But knowing Manchester United, they're just not known to be consistent, are they? So, again, it's like just saying the very obvious, right? If they get their cards right, they will stand a chance of beating Bournemouth. But I think at this juncture, Bournemouth are arguably playing football that's a lot better than Manchester United. Bournemouth playing football, they can afford to trouble teams week in, week out. They're playing football that they're very comfortable in playing. Man United, on the other hand, they're just not up there still, in my opinion. Yes, they've managed to beat City, yes, but you must understand that the football they were playing that game were just not good at all. Like, it's just so happened that the brilliance just came from Amad Diallo out of nowhere at the end of the game. But otherwise, yeah, the football that Manchester United are playing, I just don't think is the best. I think it's going to be tight, to be honest, even then. But I think Bournemouth are going to win this one. I think Man United are probably not going to win, despite being at Old Trafford. Again, yeah, home advantage could probably play in United's favour. And, yeah, but to me, at least, I think the probability for me lies towards a draw. But I just feel that maybe Bournemouth might be able to sneak a win, and it would be a great result for the Cherries, don't get me wrong. And of course, another disappointing result for Man United. Again, same problems are going to come back. It's going to bite back Manchester United again. It's very, I mean, it just goes both ways, really. If Man United win this game, great. People are going to continue to have that support for Amorim. But if they lose, they're going to say, like, nothing has changed. Bournemouth, if they win, they'll be like, oh, Bournemouth are doing extremely well. This crazy run of form that they're having. But if Bournemouth lose, then it'll be like, it's okay, because, yeah, despite the good rate form they've been having, maybe not many people expect them to win, which is obviously understandable considering the squad that they have. But because the squad is gelling so well, even though individually they may not be fantastic, they're still able to put up performances. So this is what I'm betting on, essentially, with regards to this game. I think Bournemouth are really going to get it together and just have another shock result at Old Trafford. So we'll see what happens with that one. Right, Fulham, Southampton. Sounds relatively straightforward, and I'm going with that path. I don't think Southampton are really going to challenge much. They can, but I just don't think they have the upper hand. And I mean, now managerless, They've got to find another manager who's really going to try to somehow get results out of a squad that, in my opinion, is really just not fit or not up there for the Premier League. Again, great championship team, don't get me wrong, but Premier League, I think it's just a step too much for them. Straightforward for me. I don't really have much to say for this one. 2-0 to Fulham. I really do hope that Fulham are able to prove to themselves that for games that they need to get the results, they're able to get the results. I think that's the most important thing that Fulham needs to do right now. And yeah, hopefully, they get the result, and they should be really happy if they do, because yeah, I mean, they continue the good run of form, and they continue to climb up the Premier League table. So it's good for Fulham, but for Southampton, yes, they're gonna have to continue to scratch their heads, in my opinion, unless miraculously they find solutions that can somehow boost their ability to climb up out of relegation zone. It's going to be trouble for them. It's just like Sheffield United last year, really. Just a great championship team, not a good Premier League team. What more can we really expect from them? I'm not too sure. Right, Leicester City and Wolves. Now, this will be, to me at least, reasonably tight. But again, Wolves without a manager, I don't know how Wolves are going to play, really. But Leicester, Root, he's got to do something. I think this is a game where Leicester know that they have to win 100%. They can't afford to drop any more points, drop points in this game at least, when they know that they've clearly got the upper hand. They've got the advantage in terms of the numbers, in terms of the plays, in terms of the form, in terms of mentality, compared to Wolves, who are just in a miserable shape. But, I mean, crazy things can happen again in football. Wolves can suddenly just pop out of nowhere and just start to come up with a brilliant performance. But I still have my faith in Leicester City. I think they can win 2-1. Sounds a bit tight. And yeah, I think it's going to be tight as well. I think Wolves could potentially trouble a little bit. Again, Leicester. I think the problem about Leicester is that they've just not been able to find that final third movement. Not able to finish, not able to have a fantastic end product. When they attack, I think it's good. Like the attacks that I see, I think the build-up is great. But once they reach the final third, they just aren't able to get everything together. And because of that, they lose possession and give the ball back to the opponent, which obviously isn't a good thing, right? But maybe in this one, they're able to show that quality. I would be surprised, I'll be honest. I would be surprised if it's a draw or a win for Wolves. I just don't see it happening, because the form that Wolves are in my opinion, are just not good enough. And yeah, to me at least, it's tough. I think they have to get the new manager in, figure out tweaks again, and maybe that's when they can try to climb up again. But I think it's gonna be another few really tough few weeks for Wolves, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm just not being very optimistic about the trajectory that they're going towards. So yeah, but Leicester have to win this game, in my opinion, especially how they're fighting. It's like a 6 points, a relegation 6 points, essentially. So Leicester, they just know they have to win. And I believe Root is able to get the result over the line for the club. Right, to wrap up this blockbuster weekend, Tottenham, an inconsistent Tottenham, against a slightly shaky Liverpool. Now, this game is going to be difficult for Tottenham, 100%. Liverpool are in a form where they are really threatening and challenging their opponents to the max. Not going to be easy for any opponent that faces them. City faced them, absolutely smashed, dominated. Now, what do I think of this game? Obviously, again, on paper, Liverpool should be winning this game. And considering how shaky Tottenham have been, that sort of compounds to that. But again, it's Tottenham. Sometimes I wonder, like, their up and down in form is just so crazy to me. Like, it's very hard to predict when they're going to win, when they're going to draw, when they're going to lose. Like, they can smash City 4-0, but then they can go ahead to draw with Fulham. That, again, is like a very interesting statement. Despite being, I know, again, when City are that bad in the form, but I think still, you talk about quality, it just doesn't tally up. But I mean, this result, it's another delusional result here, 3-1 to Tottenham. I think just a draw is a great result for Tottenham and a really bad result from Liverpool, because then, based on the results I'm putting here, if Liverpool draw and Chelsea win, Chelsea will, I think, either level on points or might usurp them thanks to goal difference. But they will be level on points if this happens, and that will make the title race a lot sweeter, right? But I think it's putting too much on Tottenham, expecting them to win this game. If they do, again, I'll be very surprised. But yeah, to be honest, the money is really on Liverpool to win. But I mean, it's a prediction. We'll have a bit of fun. Predicting sort of like a lot of like fluke results here and there. I mean, obviously this would include the Arsenal one, the Man United one, arguably, and maybe even the City one. Really, when I think not many people are going to expect City to win the game, especially when it's away as well to Villa Park. I don't know, but this one against Liverpool, again, as I said, high chance of Liverpool winning. But you never know. Just put the result in for fun, and we'll see what Tottenham can do against Liverpool. I'm not very positive on that one. Right, with that, guys, that's the end for the post-game week show for Game Week 17. A couple of cheeky results here, evidently, they are predicted, but nonetheless, I think it's going to be a really enjoyable weekend of games, and it will be very interesting to see how all the teams perform. Of course, it's been a fantastic season so far. The storylines for each club has been really, really good. Like as I said, you know, teams like Brighton, Forest, Fulham, Bournemouth as well. You know, they've really been the shocks. City also has been a shock in the negative sense. Liverpool have been really strong. So, you know, it's been a really, really fun season so far to watch. If you're a neutral fan, of course, I think you will love the season even more. But with that being said, get discussing in the comments down below what you guys think about this weekend, how you think the results are going to pan out for your supporting team or any other team over there. And of course, if you disagree to what I have to say, please as well, do feel free to enlighten me in the comments down below as well. But yeah, with that being said, that will be the end of this video. Drop a like if you guys are enjoying the series, and of course subscribe if you're new. I'll see you guys next time. Until then, goodbye.